Part 1 JSON tutorial Introduction to JSON. In this session, we are going to learn about what is JSON, what are the advantages of a JSON, and what are the different data types of a JSON. So let me start this session. So JSON stands for a JavaScript object notation. JSON is a syntax for storing and exchanging the data. So whenever we are talking about storing and exchanging the data, take an example of you have a client server architecture where a client is sending the request to the server and the server is responding it back with the help of the data as well. So the client is a browser, the server, you can take an example of it is a database. So whenever the browser requests anything, the browser is requesting the things in the form of a JSON and in the form of the data. So whatever the data what the client is sending it, that is sending it in the form of the JSON, and that JSON goes to the server. So whatever the server is going to process it, and after processing it, it is going to respond back to the client in the form of the JSON. So with the help of this JSON, we can have the communication between the applications and between the client server architecture. So JSON is a text written with a Java scripting language. So JSON is nothing but it is a text. It is a way of representing a text. So whenever you are saving the text, you are going to save the text in one of the file. We can say .json is an extension of the file. So JSON internet media type is application slash JSON. So whenever you want to transfer the data on the internet, then what you need to do is you need to mention that the type of that particular file or type of that particular data, we are going to mention it that type as an application slash JSON. So JSON helps to transfer a data from a client server and a vice versa. Advantages of the JSON: JSON is faster as comparison to the other languages. It means whenever we are parsing a JSON, it is faster as comparison to the XML. XML is another way to transfer the data on the internet. So whenever we are saying parsing means we are converting. Whenever we are receiving the data from any of the communication channel, we need to convert it so that we able to read it. So whenever we are trying to convert it, if you are trying to convert the XML, we need to write a n number of lines. But if you talk about a JSON, we need to write only a single line, and then we are going to extract all of the data. As well as whenever we are parsing it, we need a more memory. So if we talk about XML, in the XML we need a more memory whenever we are parsing it. But if you talk about the JSON, we don't need more memory. JSON is a more readable. The JSON structure is easily readable and it is straightforward. It is also a very lightweight. So whenever we are transferring the data on the internet, we need a bandwidth. So this JSON is very lightweight. We don't need a too much bandwidth. Another is it is a language independent. So when we talk about the JSON is having a 6 different type of data types: string, number, boolean, null, object, and array. Whenever we are formatting the data in the form of the JSON, we can mention that particular data in a 6 different data types. One is a string. String is always written in a double quotation marks. So whenever you want to add a string, then you need to add that particular string inside a double quotation marks. It may consist numbers, alphanumeric, special characters. So we have another type of the data type. We have the numbers. Numbers represents integer, float, double. So whenever you are mentioning a number in the JSON or in the form of the JSON, then you don't need to add them inside a double quotation marks. And here we have an example: age is equal to 10. We are not mentioning the number inside a double quotation marks. So we have another type of the data type in the JSON, which is this object. Object is a set of a name or a value pair inserted between the curly braces. The key must be strings and should be unique, and a multiple key values pairs are separated by comma. So whenever we are talking about an object, the object is going to have a key value pair. It can have a multiple key value pairs. It can have a single key value pair. We have another data type inside a JSON data types. We have an array. Array is an ordered collection of values, and it is going to begin with the left bracket and ends with the right brackets. The values of the arrays are separated by comma. So this is the best example of an array or an array list, which we have it inside a Java. Whatever the information you save it inside the array or the array list, that is going to represent it here as an array object of a JSON data type. We have another data type. Boolean is another data type. Here we can mention a true and a false. And if you don't mention any value for the field, take an example of here we have the first name, last name, and we don't have a middle name. At that point of time we have another data type which we can mention it null. If you want you can leave it empty as well. So this null is going to represent a empty. So these are the different data types, those are present inside a JSON. So whenever we are creating a JSON, whenever we are talking about a formatting a different data, we are going to format the data in a different fields with the help of the different data types. So that's it in this session.